Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany, and in this video today I am going to be sharing with you some really simple and I think pretty smart ways I have managed to save money here in Germany over the years. I have been wanting to make a video like this for quite a while now, but what actually pushed me to finally make the video is some of the comments that I have been receiving lately on some of my videos and some of the private messages I've been receiving. So if you're familiar with my channel, if you watch my videos, you guys will already know that my family and I recently built a house here in Germany, and I have shared a lot of the journey with you all, the house building process, and I have been receiving some interesting comments on some of my videos along the lines of, you don't know what it's like to struggle in Germany, it's easy for you in your new home, and just things like that. Just sort of comments, quite snarky comments, like presuming that I have always lived in this nice brand new home and that I've had no struggles at all here in Germany, which is completely wrong. Life for us has not always looked like this, and I want to share a little bit of my backstory before I get into the money saving tips and things. This experience that I'm about to talk about is what has molded me into the person that I am today. I wouldn't change it for anything, and I'm in no way embarrassed to talk about it. I've been here for 10.5 years now, and the most challenging part of my whole Germany journey was when my little girl Amelia was born, just after she was born, and this was, well, she's 8, coming up 8, she's 7, she'll be 8 in January, and so this was a while back now. So I was a stay-at-home mum with this tiny little newborn baby, and my husband Rob decided one day that he was sick of working in a job that he did not like, that didn't pay well, and he decided that he wanted like a better future for us, and he decided to have a complete career change. So he went from working full-time, I'm not going to go into too many details, but he went from working full-time to being at school full-time, and this was like a crazy change for us. At the time it was like, oh my god, what what are we getting ourselves into? In hindsight, it was the best decision he could have ever made for us, and this was not just a short stint, this went on for years, by the way. So as you can imagine, we did not have a lot of money during that time. Actually, that is an understatement. We were flat out broke, and we were getting a tiny little bit of help from the government, not much at all. And my husband, like the way that we would pay our rent and actually get through the month, where some months we barely got through, was my husband started a little business where he would wake up every morning at 4 o'clock, sometimes even earlier, and he would deliver fresh bread to people's homes before he started his day. And it was sort of like just a little business that he started up on the side, and that like helped to get us through. And he was so tired during those years, and I was sleep deprived, and it was just a very challenging time for us, and we were flat out broke. So he was working his absolute butt off for no money, basically just enough to survive for us. And in that time, it's so funny because we were struggling so much financially during that time, but I have such great memories of that time. There's also some like stressful memories, but those are some really happy memories for us when we were just so broke. We didn't even tell people how broke we were. Like, I don't think our family even knew, because we didn't really want people to worry about us and feel sorry for us. So we just kind of got on with it, and we just hustled through those years. And honestly, I became so thrifty, and I just learned so many tips on how to live off basically nothing. And honestly, those lessons that I learned back then are priceless, because I still hold on to them today. And the journey that we had, that whole experience of having no money, was so humbling and just so character building. So anyway guys, that's a little bit of a backstory and it kind of sets the scene for what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to share with you some ways in which my husband and I got by here in Germany on hardly any money for years. Obviously our situation looks a bit different right now, but I know what it's like to hustle, to struggle, to be like flat out broke. And I think I can help some of you. There's a lot of students that watch my videos. I know people who have just moved to Germany and they're starting out and they are struggling, and hopefully some of these tips can help you out a little bit. So let's get into it. One of the main ways in which we managed to save a lot of money in Germany was with food. Okay, so I am somebody who is a foodie. I love good food and I do not like to compromise on quality or flavor or anything like that. I learned how to eat like a queen on basically a 50-cent budget. One of the main ways in which we saved money was shopping at discount supermarkets, which is super easy to do here in Germany because there are so many discount supermarkets in Germany. There's Aldi, there's Lidl, there's Penny, there's Netto, there's Norma, I'm sure there's others, but I absolutely love these discount supermarkets and we still shop there. I love Aldi and I love Lidl, and we regularly shop at Aldi and Lidl. But these were like a lifesaver when we were super broke, because you are able to save huge money by shopping at them. With discount supermarkets, the difference between them and sort of a regular supermarket is that you just don't have all the frills and the fancy packaging and the displays and all of that. All of that adds up and goes into the cost of your food, like the final price of your food. There's been a lot of research in this topic, and what they found is that you are saving around 30% by shopping at a discount supermarket as opposed to a regular supermarket. We would always shop at mostly Aldi. Actually, Aldi we found had the best deals, and it was just great because you also don't have the temptation of all of the choices at the other supermarkets. So there's usually just one choice for every product, which some people may not like, but when you're trying to save money, it's really great because you're not tempted on all these different brands and different types of products and things like that. For me, I'm gluten-free, I've got celiac, so I was able to get some of my basic gluten-free products from Aldi, also from Lidl, and it's really inexpensive, and I really think the quality is pretty damn good at these supermarkets. Another thing is we would hardly ever eat out, because eating out in restaurants and cafes and things like that in Germany is actually pretty expensive, and especially fast food like McDonald's or Burger King and places like that are super expensive in Germany. We would just never do it. We would just always cook, and I have pretty solid cooking skills. My husband's a great cook, and so we just got super creative with our food, and we were able to eat so well on a very small budget. Like, I remember we'd get to the end of the month and we would barely have like €1 left to spare, and so we would just have to go through the fridge, and I remember there'd be like we'd open the fridge and there would be maybe 1 carrot, maybe half of a zucchini and some frozen peas in the freezer or something like that, and then there'd be like a packet of gluten-free pasta. I'd be like, oh my goodness, there's like nothing to eat, and my husband would go and whip up the most delicious gourmet looking pasta that could have been served at a 5-star restaurant, just out of these random ingredients. And he would maybe go to the supermarket and use our last €2 on a super cheap bottle of wine. We would like sit and eat our pasta and sip our wine and pretend that we were super fancy, and it was just like, we were so delusional during that time, but we just used to do things like that to pretend that our situation maybe wasn't as bad as it was. So we would just basically use everything in our fridge, like everything, until our next shop, and there was just no wasting food. We would literally use everything, like the broccoli stems we would use for a soup and things like that. Like, nothing was wasted. Okay, so moving on to another way in which we saved money in Germany, and that was through accommodation. So when Rob first decided on his big crazy career change move, we were living in Würzburg in a tiny little 1-bedroom apartment. I think it was 50 square meters. It may not have even been that big. With Amelia, who was a newborn baby at the time, and she had her little crib right next to our bed. We only had 1 bedroom. It was like tiny, the place. We had a little balcony, and we were all squashed into this little place. Amelia was fine. She didn't care. But we were paying quite high rent for this tiny place, and depending on where you are in Germany, rent can be really, really expensive. Like in Munich, oh my goodness, I can't even go there. But even in Würzburg, in Lower Franconia, the area we were living, rent is expensive. There are a lot of students. It's like a student city. You know, prices are high. You don't get a lot for your money at all. And so we were living in this little 1-bedroom apartment, and Amelia was getting older. And I remember she was an early walker. She started walking when she was 11 months, and she was off. Like, I remember it being so difficult being in that tiny apartment with her walking and into everything. So we looked for a bigger apartment in Würzburg, and there was just absolutely nothing in our price range. There was no way that we could have had an extra room for our tight budget. So then we looked a little bit outside of Würzburg into the villages, the surrounding villages, and I've talked about this briefly in a video before, but we ended up finding this really old, rundown house. It was like kind of half of a house. There was a lady already living underneath, and there was a free apartment at the top, and it was like a cobblestone house, like really traditional German, Bavarian, Franconian style, but it needed a lot of renovation, and it was basically double the size of the place that we were living in. Rent, I'm pretty sure, was even less than what we were paying in this 1-bedroom apartment in Würzburg. And there was a garden, and we just sort of used our imagination and just thought, okay, we could make this kind of nice. It'll be fine for the stage of life we're at the moment, and it'll give Amelia a little bit of room. And so we ended up moving from the city, from Würzburg, to a little village outside of the city, still in the Würzburg district, but the rent was a lot cheaper, and we got way more for our money. It wasn't as new, the place, but it was absolutely fine, and we were just so happy with this place. So basically, you can get so much more for your money. Like, this is probably an obvious one, but if you're not right in the city, if you're prepared to move outside the city a little bit, no matter where you are in Germany, you're going to get way more for your money. The rent is going to be cheaper, and it's just a really great option for families, and it was a great decision for us. Another way that we were able to save huge money during that time is secondhand shopping, which may seem like an obvious one, but I cannot stress enough about how amazing secondhand shopping is if you really get into it. Still to this day, I love a good secondhand bargain, and I love shopping secondhand, but oh my goodness, that was like our lifeline when we were going through this struggling time. We bought so much secondhand. We bought secondhand clothes, appliances, furniture, just everything secondhand, and it was incredible. I'm the sort of person, I like to look nice. I like to take care of myself, and that was something I was not willing to let slip when we were struggling financially. There's lots of local Facebook pages where you can buy secondhand items. There's a website that I used all the time, still use now, called eBay KLEINANZEIGEN, where you can buy secondhand items from local people. There's also an amazing secondhand clothing website called KREISEL, which I still to this day use, and I have bought so many clothes off KREISEL. It's just been an absolute godsend. There's also a kids version called MAMI where I buy so many of my kids' clothes from. The thing is, in Germany, a lot of Germans, they love to buy really quality clothes, and then maybe they'll get sick of them and then they'll sell them. And so you can find like beautiful coats and boots and just really nice items that would otherwise be super expensive brand new for like a fraction of the price that you would pay for them in a store. So when it comes to like items that would be quite expensive, you know, a new winter coat, a new pair of boots, as I mentioned. It's so great to go on these types of websites because you can just get the best deals. You can type in what brand you want, what size, what color, what condition, and it narrows them all down for you. And it's just, I love it. I get so excited about thrift shopping. It's so much fun. And so during that time, like, Amelia was absolutely fine because my mother-in-law, she just went crazy on clothes and baby things for Amelia. And then my mum would always send things, and when she came to visit, she'd bring so many gifts and things for Amelia. Amelia was totally fine, but it was more like me. For me and for Rob, we would buy a lot of secondhand clothes and we'd still look absolutely fine. Like, I'd have people all the time asking, oh, where did you get your coat or something. Also in Germany, they have a lot of secondhand clothing markets, at least in the area where I live, and they're usually advertised on the local Facebook pages or in newspapers and things like that, where you can go and it's like an event where there are lots and lots of people selling their clothes, and I used to go to them a lot. Right now, because of COVID, they're not happening. Also because I am really small. I'm the size of maybe a 12-year-old. I was able to get away with wearing some kids' clothes. Like, sometimes shops like Zara, they have clothes, kids' clothes that look like adults' clothes, and I would go to these children's clothing markets and buy kids' clothes for myself, and you know, they looked great, so why not? I am also a person that my space where I live really affects how I feel. Like, I have to live in a nice space. No matter how much money I have, I need to make it look nice. My husband and I got really, really good at turning trash into treasure. We would find a super cheap, beat up old wardrobe, for example, and sand it and paint it and make it look amazing. And then we were also able to resell. So we did a little bit of that. We probably should have done more of that, but mostly for our house, we had a lot of secondhand furniture which we renovated ourselves and made look really nice. And I think both of the apartments we lived in we made them look really nice for the money that we had. I think we really made the most of our tiny budget, and I felt really happy and comfortable in my home. Okay, so moving on, I've talked about secondhand shopping, but there's also a lot of ways you can get things for free in Germany, and we were really good at scoring stuff for free during that time. So there are websites in Germany like eBay Kleinanzeigen where people are just giving away stuff. They just want you to come and pick it up, and they just want it off their hands. And so there'll be some really good stuff if you look in the free section, where, you know, you can find great furniture that's absolutely fine. It may be like a little bit old-fashioned, but if you maybe paint it or, you know, renovate it a little bit, it can be absolutely amazing. So if you're prepared to put in a little bit of work, or if you don't really care, if you just need furniture, you can find stuff for free easily in Germany. Everything from clothes to furniture to appliances to like garden decorations, people are giving away for free. It's not like you're stealing, you're actually doing these people a favor, taking their junk off their hands that you are going to use. But it's really a great way, if you are on the bones of your butt like we were, to get new things. So guys, there is just so much more I could talk about on this subject. I could go on for so much longer, but this video has already gone on long enough. I really hope this was helpful to some of you. I'm an open book, guys. I am not ashamed of anything that I have been through. It's made me the person I am today, and I am proud of the hustle. It's something that I am super proud of. I'm super proud of my husband for how hard that he has worked for our family and to get us where we are today. He is amazing, and I loved hustling with him. It was, you know, we've been through everything together, through thick and thin, and it's been great. We've had lots of ups and downs, but we've had a lot of laughs, and money does not by happiness, because when I look back at that time when we were so broke, as I mentioned, I have so many happy memories, so many amazing memories, and I love telling Amelia about those times where, you know, we had no money and we had to be super creative with what we could do, and she loves hearing about these times. And I think that it's a good thing for kids to know that, you know, you have to work to get where you are, and that you don't need to be rich to be happy and that kind of thing. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.